Welcome back. That's Shaun Campbell. I'm Shaun Starr. We're talking Laval Rocket. The Laval Rocket now out of first place with the Rochester Americans having a 3-point gap is Laval teeter-tottering, right? They had a home and home with Manitoba. They lose the first game, bounce back with a stronger performance, and then go to Syracuse and come up on the wrong side of the scoreline, losing 3-2. Laurent Dauphin on Saturday night scored with 1 second left in regulation. And Laval gets interesting trend here. So Laval goes 0 for 3 on the power play. They give Syracuse 6 power play opportunities and concede 43 shots to 16 or 18 for Laval in that 1-goal loss. Your quick reaction to whether or not Laval, not like the Canadiens. We're not talking about like a discipline problem with the Laval Rocket, are we?
No, but they do take a lot of penalties. They definitely do. So they take a lot of penalties. They usually bring a lot. They play a lot of 4-on-4.
Right.
But they can get a little heated. They can get tired. And this is the first thing, I look at when they lose a game in Syracuse on a Saturday night. I go, well, they were in Laval at, 10:30 loading onto a bus, getting ready to drive down to Syracuse, get there at 2 a.m, get into the hotel, turn around. Whenever I see a loss like that with a lot of penalties and coming down to the wire, I really go, wow, where are they coming? Oh, they drove from Rochester all the way to Utica. I always take a perspective of that grind. And I know, Shaun, back in the Montreal junior days, that you like to stay closer to home. I'm very aware of a long bus ride and what that happens to a hockey team when you're cooped up. Even if you get in, I know what it's like when you get back into a hotel at 3 a.m. trying to find your room key, and then you get in, you got to put your stuff away. Your roommates go into the bathroom. You got to go to the bathroom. You got to get changed. You got to get into bed. Then you got to wake up at 7. Then you have a team meeting. I'm very aware of all that, and we could go, oh well, but it's the life. They're doing what. It's a factor, and I look at that loss and taking a lot of penalties, and I kind of go, it's a bit of a factor. It's a game that they probably should have won. But again, you pile in these injuries. They weren't sure if anybody was going to get called up to Ottawa. You got to go on the bus for 5 hours. C'est pas facile.
C'est pas facile, pas en tout. So that's where Laval is. That's the context of the Laval Rocket season, right? We're talking about a team that's played 47 games, second place in the North Division, but it's really been a first-place team for much of the season. So, Campbell, you ready to play? Are you an NHLer or are you an AHLer? And feel free to interject. Maybe you're a tweener. Maybe you're one of those tweener guys, okay? So you brought up his name already. And a lot of people have turned their attention to Arbor Jackeye's brother, Florian Jackeye. 20 points and 14 goals through 47 games. Florian Jackeye, are you an NHLer?
I see it.
You do, eh? 13 forward, like Michael Pizzetta, the next Mike Pizzetta?
So the other day, he's been playing center his whole rookie campaign. And the other day, because of the injuries, and they didn't want him to center a fourth line with a couple of guys from the ECHL, they threw him on the wing with Owen Beck and Jared Davidson. And it was actually, he scored a goal, but it was one of his quieter games on the wing. But the coach, John Goins, and I looked and said, if he's going to make the NHL, I don't know if it's going to be a center. He is a center.
Yeah.
But even if you look at the depth chart of the Canadiens, Oliver Kapanen's a center, no doubt about it. Owen Beck's a center, no doubt about it. And who knows who else is down the line and who's going to be part of this organization moving forward. But I said, push comes to shove, I think Florian Jackeye will be a winger on a fourth line. That kind of energy, has no problem dropping the gloves, scoring touch. Like, he really does have that in real tight around the net. Clutch. Go look at the game-winning goals when he's scoring those goals. Those are things that I look at a player. It's a good number for a rookie season at the professional level, but he's also getting the opportunity. He's making the most of it. I don't know. He might be a guy, if push comes to shove, maybe a little bit more on the gamesmanship from Pizzetta. You think Pizzetta, you're like, oh, he's going to make 30 or 40 games.
Right.
Florian Jackeye's probably a 50 to 60 game guy. Might be in and out of the lineup, but I see him as a fourth line winger.
With Shaun Campbell, the voice of the Laval Rocket on TSN 690. You can listen to him along with his partner in crime, Mitch Gallo, from 10 to 2 on TSN 690 Monday through Friday. Are you an NHLer? Jared Davidson, 47 game. Let's talk about this 2022 pick. Fifth round draft pick, right?
Yeah.
47 games, 17 goals, 13 assists, 30 points. He's fifth on team scoring with Laval this season. Jared Davidson, are you an NHLer, Shaun Campbell?
if Jared Davidson is watching NHL film, I hope he watches the likes of Tyler Toffoli. I hope he watches the likes of Michael Ryder. Scoring ability, but when you look at Toffoli, look at Ryder. When you get scouted, they look at the skating and they're like, ugh. There's a reason why Jared Davidson was drafted so late, is because he's a guy that knows how to get in the right position. Now, I actually find that his mobility has gotten really good and he's been working on it. But this is a guy that knows how to shoot. You get him with the right person, the right spot, and he is adaptable. It's one of my favorite things about Tyler Toffoli. It's unfair that I'm going to say that he's going to turn into Tyler Toffoli. But what I like about Jared Davidson is that you put him on a fourth line wing, he's going to have success. You put him on the second line winger, he's going to have success. You want him on the number one power play unit, he's going to have success. You want to put him with a young guy, no problem. You want to put him with an old guy, no problem. He's an adaptable hockey player. For what role he's going to play in the NHL, I have no idea. And I don't want to sit here and say there's a 50-50 chance. I think it's a longer shot for him to make it, but he's going to get a look. So I'm going to say he's going to get a look, and I don't know if he's going to stay.
Right.
But so if he's going to be an NHLer, you get one game, you're an NHLer. So I'm going to say yes. He's going to get a look.
Florian Jackeye, 4th rounder. Jared Davidson, 5th rounder. My next player, 5th round draft pick. So a 4th, a 5th, and a 5th. Mm-hmm. But he's 3rd in team scoring. Coming back from injury, 16 goals, 15 assists, nice balanced numbers. Joshua Roy, are you a full-time NHLer?
What I liked was on Wednesday, the coach called him out.
Oh, yes. Tell me.
Pascal Vincent called him out, skipped him shifts. He was invisible on Wednesday. John and I noticed, or didn't notice him in a way. What does he come out on Friday? And then he says it straight up. He goes, I got called out. I deserve to get called out. And then he scores a big goal on the Friday night.
That's healthy attitude.
That's healthy, because there's been a lot of talk about the ebbs and flows of how Josh Waugh takes things. Josh Waugh was probably a little upset that he's been in the AHL for a very long time. And then you go through an emotional roller coaster. He's still very young. He absolutely has the intelligence to be an NHLer. But I'll tell you right now, where we thought Josh Waugh was a year ago, where he was knocking on the door, playing NHL games, and we had him lined up and in the lineup moving forward, I think he's lost a couple steps in the depth chart of how the organization feels about him. I think he's gone down a rung. And he's going to get more looks because he's played in the NHL, but I don't know if he's going to have the ability to stay in the NHL.
He could be a tweener. I think
he could be absolutely a tweener. He could be in that the wild world of Charles Hudon, you know?
Yeah. I mean, listen, Alex Barré-Boulet, veteran guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm no disrespect, but I think Habs Nation is more interested in figuring out who Josh Waugh is going to be. Same thing with Laurent Dauphin, right? He's been around. Yeah. Owen Beck, I don't even need to waste your time and ask you about Owen Beck, right?
NHL. And by the way, he came back down, and since he got, the Four Nations face-off, they sent him back down to play in the NHL. Unbelievable. Yeah. His pace is... it's like he got faster. He didn't, but I think he realizes how fast he has to be. So, Owen Beck, it's coming.
So I wanted to cover a couple of those forwards now. We get a little bit better in the draft. Let's move to defense. He was chosen in the 2022 pick, 2022 draft year, excuse me. Defenseman Adam Engstrom, 49 games, 22 points, having a good season by all accounts. Very stable, very consistent. Adam Engstrom, are you an NHLer?
At times I see it, but I think I see it less and less. Yeah. And the ladder that he has to climb through, the Mayu and the Reinbacher that are sitting right there. I like him a lot, but I like him a lot at the AHL level.
Yeah.
He plays a real smart game. He really does. I don't know if it'll ever translate into the NHL.
Raphael Harvey-Pinard, are you an NHLer?
I think he's exactly who he is.
Okay.
Right now, top six forward in the AHL.
That's the voice of the Laval Rocket. You can hear him weekdays on TSN 690 from 10 until 2 with Mitch Gallo. It's Campbell v. Gallo. Don't miss the program. And, of course, catch up with all your Laval Rocket action on your home for Laval Rocket Hockey, TSN 690. Shaun Campbell, thanks for the insight. Really appreciate the time today.
No problem, bud.